Hi everyone, welcome to Java Python Interview Hub. Today we are doing a realistic automation testing mock interview focused on Java, Selenium and frameworks. I will be the interviewer and you will hear how a confident candidate answers. Personally, let's start. In this video, we simulate a real-life automation testing interview with Java and Selenium. Listen, learn, and practice like you are in the hot seat. Right? So let's start. The first question. Can you explain automation testing? Candidate. Automation testing uses specialized tools to execute test cases without human intervention, increasing efficiency, accuracy, and reusability. Perfect answer. Second question. Why did you choose Java for automation? Java is platform independent, has rich libraries, strong community support, and integrates easily with Selenium and testing frameworks. Third question. Define Selenium in short, or what is Selenium? Candidate. Selenium is an open source automation framework used for web applications, supporting multiple browsers and programming languages. The main key features of Selenium: open source automation tool, specifically for web applications, cross-browser compatibility, supports multiple programming languages, and extensive community support. Next question. What are Selenium's components, or can you name Selenium components? Candidate. Selenium IDE, Selenium WebDriver, and Selenium Grid. Selenium IDE is used for record and playback tool for test. Selenium WebDriver is used for API for browser automation. And Selenium Grid is used for parallel test execution across machines. Next question. Difference between Selenium WebDriver and Selenium RC, or how does WebDriver differ from Selenium RC? Candidate. WebDriver directly interacts with the browser without a server, while Selenium RC requires a server. Next question. Can Selenium automate desktop apps, or is Selenium suitable for desktop apps? Candidate. No. Selenium works only for web applications. For desktop apps, tools like Vimium or AutoLT are used. What Selenium can automate? Web applications, cross-browser testing, and web forms and elements. What Selenium cannot automate? Then desktop applications, mobile native applications, right? Captchas and images, right? Next question is, how do you locate elements in Selenium? Or another question is, name some locators in Selenium. Candidate. By ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, CSS selector, and XPath. These are the different locators in Selenium, and you can see the different example with every type. Now, question number 8. Difference between absolute and relative path, or which one do you prefer, absolute or relative? Candidate. Absolute XPath starts from root, means single slash, is brittle. Relative XPath means double slash is shorter and more flexible. Right? So most automation engineers prefer relative XPath due to its flexibility and maintainability. Other information you can see on your screen. Next question. How do you handle dynamic elements in Selenium? Or Dynamic elements change frequently. How do you deal with them? Candidate. By using dynamic XPath, CSS selectors, or stable attributes like contains or starts with. Right? Other detailed information you can check on your screen. Now, next is, what is the difference between find element and the find elements? Or explain the differences between them. Candidate. Find element returns the first matching element, while find elements returns a list of matching elements. Right? Next is, how do you handle drop downs in Selenium? Or what class is used for drop downs? Candidate. The select class is used with methods select by visible text, select by value, or select by index. The select class provides methods to get all options, selected options, and check if multiple selection is allowed. Next is, how do you handle alerts in Selenium? One of the most important question. Which interface is used for that? Candidate. The alert interface with methods accept, dismiss, get text, and send keys. Accept clicks the OK button on the alert. Dismiss clicks the cancel button on the alert. Get text gets the text from the alert, and send keys enters text into prompts alerts. Right? Let's move to the next question. That how do you handle multiple windows in Selenium? Or explain the approach. By using get window handles and switch to dot window into bracket the object of handle. By using this, you are able to handle the multiple windows in Selenium. Next is, how do you handle frames in Selenium? Or which method is used for frames? Driver dot switch to dot frame or into bracket your web element is actually used for the handling the frames. First of all, identify the frame or locate the frame using an appropriate locator. Then switch to the frame. Use one of the three methods to switch the frame or interact with the elements. Now you can interact with elements inside the frame and switch back to the main frame. These are the methodology or steps for handling frames in Selenium. Next question. How do you handle file upload in Selenium? Or can Selenium upload files? Candidate. Yes. By sending the file path to the input and your send keys. Important notes. Work only with the input type is equal to file elements. Use absolute file path. For hidden upload elements may need JavaScript executor, and for complex uploads consider AutoLT or robot class. Next is, how do you handle weights in Selenium or name types of weights? Implicit weight, explicit weight, and fluent weight. Implicit weight, global timeout for all elements. Explicit weight, waits for a specific condition, and the fluent weight, customizable polling and exceptions. Next is difference between implicit and explicit weight. Or another one, which one is better between two? The candidate responds, what? Explicit weight is better as it waits for a specific condition. Next is, how do you capture screenshots in Selenium? Interviewer. Then candidate will give a response. Take screenshot interface with get screenshot as method. Using that you are able to capture screenshots. Next is, what is page object model? Or what do we use POM? Candidate. POM is a design pattern that creates separate classes for pages and improving maintainability. Next is, what is page factory in Selenium? Then it is a design pattern, a page object model, it is a page factory, and the shared traits are form structure, maintainable test, and the factory initialization. Next is, how do you perform data driven testing in Selenium? Or which libraries do you use for data driven? Candidate: Apache POI for Excel CSV readers or property files. Apache POI for the Excel, CSV for the CSV, and the property files for the configurations. Next is, how do you manage test data in automation? Or do you use hard-coded data? Candidate: no. I keep data in external files or databases for the reusability. Next, what is TestNG? Again, the most important question. Or why do we use TestNG? Candidate: TestNG is a testing framework that provides annotations, parallel execution, reporting, and grouping. Next is, how do you prioritize test in TestNG? Or which attribute is used for the prioritize? Candidate: the priority attribute in @test annotation used. Next is, how do you skip a test in TestNG? Or which attribute is used to skip a test in TestNG? Candidate: enable is equal to false or throw skip exception. You can find the related example in your screen. Next is, how do you run a test in parallel in TestNG? Or what is the configuration for that? Candidate: in testng.xml with parallel attributes, right? And you can find the sample XML file in your screen. Next is, how do you generate reports in TestNG? Or what reports are generated in TestNG? Candidate: HTML and XML reports by default can integrate with extend reports or the Allure, right? Next is, what is a Selenium grid? Or why use grid? Candidate: for parallel execution across different machines and the browsers, Selenium grid is used. Next is, what are desired capabilities? Or where do we use them? Candidate: to set browser specific properties in Selenium. Next is, what is the difference between get and navigate? Right? So, get is used via URL. Navigate method is used to method for the open URL, for opening the URL. Next is, how do you handle cookies in Selenium? Or what methods are available? Candidate: add cookies, delete cookie, and get cookie method is actually used for that. Next is, how do you handle broken links in Selenium? Right? So, another one is, what's the approach? Candidate: fetch href, send HTTP request, check response code. So you can get this data or get the HTTP requests or send the HTTP request and check the response code, and within that content you can find the broken links in Selenium. Next is, how do you run Selenium test on the cloud? Or which service have you used for that? Candidate: browser stack or source lab. Browser stack, cloud based cross browser testing. Source labs, automated testing platform. Next is, what is continuous integration in automation? Or how do you implement CI? Candidate: integrating Selenium with Jenkins to run test automatically on code changes. Next is, how do you version control your automation scripts? Or Which tool do you use for that? Candidate. Git and GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket. So, which library do you use? Log4j or java.util.logging, right? For the messaging. Next is, what is headless browser testing? Or question will be, what is headless browser testing? Candidate. Chrome and Firefox support headless mode for faster execution. Next is, how do you manage waits for AJAX calls? The answer is, the use explicit wait with expected conditions for elements to be visible. Identify element means locate the element that will appear after AJAX call. Then set the explicit wait, configure WebDriver wait with timeout, and then after use expected condition means wait for element visibility or clickability. Next is, how do you handle stale element exception? The answer will be, relocate the element after DOM refresh. DOM means document object model. So first of all, identify element, then after relocate it, retry, and then wait. Next is, how do you run Selenium test without opening the browser window? Answer is headless mode. The headless mode allows test to run without displaying the browser UI, making execution faster and more suitable for CI/CD pipelines. Next is, what is BDD in automation? Candidate. Behavior driven development with tools like the Cucumber. Next, how do you integrate Selenium with Cucumber? The answer is, write scenarios in Gherkin steps definition in Java and run with JUnit or TestNG. So first of all, create feature files with given when then syntax. Then after code the steps in Java that map to the Gherkin statements, and then after execute using JUnit or TestNG. Next, how do you perform cross-browser testing in Selenium like a Chrome, Firefox, Edge? Candidate. Using WebDriver instance for different browsers in a single test suite, right? Next is, how do you handle authentication pop-ups? The answer is, pass credentials in the URL, the given URL in your screen. Then after, how do you integrate Selenium with Maven? Candidate. Maven manages dependencies and build lifecycle. Or question will be, why Maven? Next, how do you execute test in Jenkins? Right? Or what is the process? The answer will be, configure Jenkins job, link project repository, trigger builds on commit. First of all, create new Jenkins job, connect to the source code, and then after schedule or on commit. Next is, how do you handle test failures automatically? Candidate. Implement retry logic with retry analyzer in TestNG. Next, what is hybrid framework? Hybrid means mixing of more than one or two frameworks. Means like data driven framework is there, then after keyword driven is framework is there. If we combine this both data and keyword driven framework and perform some automation testing, then that will be called as a hybrid framework. Next, what is your approach to maintaining automation scripts? The answer is regular refactoring, reusable methods, and version controls. Continuously improve code quality, create utility functions for common tasks, and then after track changes with Git or similar tools. And the last question is real world scenario, or question is your automation scripts fail due to locator changes just before release. What do you do? Candidate: quickly identify stable locators, update scripts, and run regression to ensure no other breakage. So these are the top most 50 important automation questions with Java and Selenium, right? So thanks for watching. If this mock interview helped you, please like, share and subscribe to Java Python Interview Hub for more Java plus Selenium interviewer preparation videos. See you in the next one. Subscribe to Java Python Interview Hub. Learn, practice and succeed. Thank you very much guys for joining with me.